Hey everybody, how's it going? Want to do a little tribute video today. Today would have been John Lennon's 83rd birthday. And he passed away, of course, in 1980, tragically. But I want to talk a little bit about him because he was a big, advocate for peace, right? And it's funny because he had a lot of trauma in his early days, in his childhood, early years, adolescence. And then, once in a while you'll read people, bringing up things from the past that were not so favorable. And I'm sure if he were alive today, he'd be the first to tell you, hey, yeah, I messed up. I did some messed up stuff. Because towards the end of his life, if you listen to some of his interviews, he started coming out and acknowledging those things. And I always believed, he died so young. I always believed he was trying to become a better person. And who knows what would have happened towards the end, If you ever seen the movie Yesterday, it came out in 2019. It was about an alternate reality where there are no Beatles. And in this reality, John Lennon is still alive. And he's kind of quietly living a life like on a beach, and stuff like that. Like he was a musician, but he didn't make it the way he made it in this world, in this realm. So, or this dimension. But yeah, the point is, and he seemed like a very peaceful, and it was a very touching scene. So we don't know what he would have been like, decades later, But I really get tired of, people who like to bring up past transgressions, especially when the person's trying to make amends, was trying to make amends. He became a good father to his second child, Sean, and I think he kind of reconciled with his first son. And I know everybody has opinions about Yoko, but this isn't about her. This is about him. Him and Paul McCartney kind of reconciled after having a bitter feud. And he was always about the music. Even when he took that 5-year hiatus, he was always about the music. Like being a house husband too, in those 5 years. But I mean, at the end, the music was always in him. But I just don't like it. I get tired of when people bring up past, incidences. Once that other person who's done them has acknowledged them, there's no need. And I feel like when people bring up the past on other people, dig up dirt on other people, that's their way of projecting on themselves, without having to do that. Like they got their own demons to fight. So no, I'm just going to pick on a dead celebrity, because they don't like the way, let's face it, John Lennon is still today by many highly regarded. He's got a lot of fans still. The Beatles are bigger than ever, you could say. His message still rings true. But I think there's a lot of people who can't stand that. And instead of attacking the music, they attack the person. And it's like, and that's another topic we could talk about in the future. Can you separate the person from the artist, because they are still human beings. And there are some people that have done horrible things in their past, but people still listen to their music or still watch them in movies or whatever. We'll talk about that some other time. With John Lennon, I think he was a tortured soul. I really do. I believe deep down he was a good person, but he had to have a tough exterior, and sometimes it came out on and affected other people. And he, like I said, I think if he were alive today, he'd be the first to tell you, yeah, I did some really messed up things. But there are times I could see, I wasn't around back then, but I could see like the goodness in him, it's a shame what happened because I don't think he had that opportunity. He probably did it in another dimension because I do believe in that, which I'll get into that another time. But he didn't have an opportunity in this dimension to really, or in this timeline, to really, evolve like he wanted to. I really believe he wanted to. And the music was starting to come back, He just did another album. So, but with the Beatles and everything, I'm not just saying it because it's, rhetorical, but I do believe they are the greatest band ever because they influence so many things, Whether you believe that or not is irrelevant. I mean that's your personal opinion. I happen to believe. I do believe people, I understand why people think they're overrated, but I think that's because they really don't understand the contributions they really made. And I do believe there are some fans of the Beatles out there that put them way up. Like, it's like, well, they're all human. They weren't perfect either. They just left some great music to us, And Paul is still keeping the legacy alive. Ringo's still keeping the legacy alive. Of course, we'll always remember George Harrison. He's another interesting person when it comes to spirituality. We could talk about him some other time. But yeah, I just feel like he was trying to become a better person when he left this realm. So, I just take time to remember the music and the good stuff, And I think anybody that likes to bring up the negative stuff, that's really issues that they're having with themselves. Unless he did something to you personally, you really have no reason to say anything, honestly. Oh, what about when he did that? What about when so-and-so did that? I mean, come on. Get a life. So, anyway, to John Lennon, thank you for all you've done. And that's all I wanted to say. Peace.